Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. In the run up to the Minara Business Awards on the 28th of October, which Hilaal is proud to be broadcasting live, inshallah, we're speaking to a few of the nominees and getting their stories and getting, inspiration, more importantly, and hope from them. With me today is Mariam Tayob Cassim. Jazakallah for joining me. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Muhammad. It's such an honor and pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, in the brief chat that we had prior to this interview, it became very, very interesting. And shukar alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah Ta'ala, what you've been able to achieve. Tell us a little bit about your story.
It honestly is truly by the grace of the Almighty, I must say. You can put hard work in, but it's when the Almighty decides to bless you, it's when things actually materialize.
Yes.
So I'm the co-founder of Richester Foods. I've started with my husband, a qualified dentist.
Okay.
We started in 2007 from very humble beginnings. I must add, a mother of 3 beautiful children.
Alhamdulillah.
Have to start with that because it's so important if you have a business to also have a family to share it with, you know? There's nothing more special than that. So we started in 2007 from very humble beginnings, making sweets with the bare minimum of equipment and learning how to make sweets. We didn't have any knowledge or experience on the know-how. And after years of learning and trying and getting it wrong many, many times, alhamdulillah, after about 8 or 9 years, the Almighty decided to bless us. And a few winning products took off. And we've never looked back since then. And now, 2022, we have 650 employees, 20 different products, 120 different SKUs, you call them, which is
different
individual
product ranges. Yes. Alhamdulillah. Now, it sounds easy now. So it sounds like, a fantasy story and everything came true. But that was not always how it was, right? And you talk about learning. So let's, a few business lessons. Why did you enter the sweet industry? Where did you see the need, if that made sense?
That's a very good question. I get asked so many times, what would have made you start a sweet factory, So I come from a well-known family. My father owned the second largest biscuit factory in the country, Quality Biscuits at the time of its sale. So quick brief summary. I come from a family of 3 sisters. I didn't have any brothers. My parents grew me up to be like their son. So, and in fact, that's the message I want to spread across today, There's no difference between a boy and a girl. I was brought up believing that there's nothing you can't do. Doesn't matter who you are or what gender you are. I then became a chartered accountant, did my articles at Deloitte, and I was groomed from a very young age by my mother especially that you're going to take over your dad's business. And the year that I finished my articles and joined my dad's business, he received an offer from Bacomo he couldn't refuse. And he sold out. That left my husband and I with what next? And the customer base and the industry of biscuits is very much similar to sweets. So my husband's idea, Hussein, was to start the sweet factory.
The dentist.
The dentist.
What a
sweets.
parody in
but
that.
You got to appreciate his support for his fellow colleagues.
Definitely. And then the rest is history,
and then you had to learn YouTube videos and a lot of YouTube videos and reading because there's no simply a manual on how to start a business or how to make sweets, So I think once the idea comes in your head of any industry, it's about doing the research and then putting in the hours and then putting your head down and waking up 9 years later and realizing, oh my word, 9 years have passed.
Alhamdulillah. And some of the lessons that you could impart, there's been some important lessons that you've shared with us and the viewers. But lessons beyond that, often research tells you that a business gets to a point of saturation, but shukar alhamdulillah, you've been able to manage that scale over time. And businesses go through different phases, the initial phase and then the maturation phase. And then sometimes, you have a responsibility of success because you don't know when the dip is going to come and you have to now risk manage against that. Tell us a little bit about that.
The tipping point,
I call it. The tipping point.
But the advice or something I can give from experience is I've realized that if you put your head down and you give it your best and you arrive to work every day in the good and the many bad days and you're honest with your employers, your customers, your staff, you take care of everybody. So it's sort of like good karma. If you do your best every single day and you dodge the bullets, and sometimes the bullets hit you, but you survive. I think in the end, after a lot of perseverance and knowledge and understanding and looking after your employees, sort of good comes your way in the end. So there's so many lessons I can give you. We could sit for hours. But I do want to say that if you give it your best, after a certain number of years, the Almighty will decide to bless you and say, you know what, you've been good, you've been honest, you've been fair, you've paid your taxes. I think it's time to bless you. And what I'm trying to say is, keep doing what you're doing. It does work out in the end if you give it your absolute best.
You know, I would love to end on that because that's like the perfect advice, right? But I have to ask one more question before we close, and that's what's the future looking like, inshallah, for the business and yourself?
There's so much negativity going around, and there's so much naysayers, and sometimes we sit in this load shedding and it frustrates us, but we have the view that in every adversity, there's opportunity. And when everybody is feeling down and negative, those that are positive and still give it their best. So, okay, now we've got load shedding. Either you can complain about it or you can put a generator in, sacrifice some of your profits and move on. There are a lot that's going to fall off the wagon. The positive, optimistic leaders are going to thrive in this time of adversity. The world is in chaos and suffering. But I think those that are optimistic and give it their best and dodge the bullets or manage them, there is a great deal of money and good to come.
Yeah, and I think as everyone says, as you say, in adversity, there's opportunity. In risk, there's opportunity. And I think we've got to continue. And I love that message as a parting note because I think that's what we need. We need hope. We need inspiration. Thank you for providing that to the viewers and anyone looking out to say, listen, anything, shukr, alhamdulillah, and inshallah can be done. Thank you so much. Good luck for the Business Awards. We look forward to seeing you there, inshallah, and keep doing what you guys are doing.
That's such nice parting words. Thank you so much for giving me that opportunity to be here and for listening to my story.
No, I think it's an inspiring story. I think it's a story that needs to be told. And thank you. I also see it as people very often want to be, humble and don't want to tell their story. But we have responsibilities to tell these stories to give hope and inspiration to others.
I'd like to end with something on
Please.
that. I really would. So for years, I was in the shadow. I mean, you're working so hard, there's no time. And then when I was asked for a few times to speak, I said, no, let me just do my thing, go home, go to work. And then I realized that if I share my story and if I speak to others and I can inspire even one person to be the best version of themselves, not only women, but I mean, my focus is currently on women, to make them realize that put your head down, work. There's no difference between us and a man. You can succeed and you can have the work-life balance. You can be done. That is the reason I've come out of the shadows into a little bit of the spotlight. It's uncomfortable. It's totally out of my comfort zone. But I want to make a difference to inspire the young generation because South Africa particularly needs that way of thinking, of hope. Together we can rebuild. But if everybody is a naysayer, sitting on their own, not coming out and motivating and inspiring others, we're doomed. That is why I am here today.
I love that. And I think that's exactly what we need to do. We need to be talking to each other. We need to be collaborating. We need to be sharing ideas. No longer can we say, these are my ideas. I mean, ideas are possible. And you talked about it at the beginning of this conversation. We need stakeholders. We need partnerships. We need collaborations. We need to work together. And inshallah, that will just create more and more for everyone.
I wish as an Islamic channel, I can say that Rosie comes from Allah and the viewers will understand. I wish that our community would understand that and know that Rosie is going to come from Allah. So collaborate, share, uplift your fellow members, and more will come. The more you give, the more you get. It's true. And that is why I would want everybody to share, collaborate, uplift, help. It will make a huge difference to where our country is going.
Jazakallah, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam, Muhammad.